Who wants to play a truly unique city builder? One that laughs in the face of permanence and robs you of the sense of control that the genre generally may give you. That and the sense of calm, because lose focus for a bit and all your hard work can go away too. Join me for this Cheapness Affordable Gaming review of the unique if frustrating city builder Balancity. Well, they say governance can be a balancing act. Absolute punishment. But it usually doesn't end this badly though. Welcome to the universe of Balancity, where cities are built on a piece or pieces of balancing Earth. On ground seesaws, essentially. Where you place buildings and monuments trying to balance them and try to get as high as possible a population to actually live on these seesaws. Intro time! Drop some residential blocks, a power plant to power them, commercial blocks to employ them, some trees to offset the pollution, and coincidentally create some high-tech urban green terracing. If only it were that easy in real life. See, this game is all about efficient placement. I'm putting commercial blocks above the power plant. Not only is that efficient wiring, the toxic fumes don't have far to go to negatively impact my citizens' health either. We're building the future here. When commercial and residential blocks are placed in 2x2 arrangements, they will consolidate and offer a higher capacity for the given space. And as weight increases on one side, you balance on the other. Place elevators to consolidate 3 of those larger capacity blocks into a skyscraper. Find the gap. Obviously, scale isn't important to the game, and another spanner in the works is that these blocks, and thus buildings, aren't the same dimensions. And thus equating weight can be a bit difficult, as can just building evenly on top of them. Plus add some transportation, which arguably gives far more horizontal traversal than the small patch of land needs. And wait, if you somehow thought that was easy, you also have some city-esque natural disasters and crime to contend with. And to do so requires utilities be built. Unsurprisingly, they also are irregularly shaped. And you can't just plan your center very well in a balanced fashion building upward as a focal anchor, because the game has height restrictions until you reach certain population levels. And also then build that level of city monument. And these are the most irregularly shaped and irregularly sized. Just look at this thing. And different for every level. Because you know, different cities have different monuments. And the land's also different. Difficult to build on in different ways. Such as the rising Earth in San Francisco. And the level isn't complete until you've built all the monuments. It's quite a hard game. Laborious. Giant monster attacks are hard to deal with, and so are asteroids. This thing is less Rampage and more that thing from Bubble Puzzle. I mean, you can't really place something on top of a missile launcher, so it's either a level surface or an Earth defense force. Take your pick. Dealing with the disasters when you have the appropriate building to take care of it is actually pretty easy. You just click in the appropriate manner and it will get dealt with. But sometimes there are so many cartoony fires and burglars to deal with, and I'm still not sure what you can do, if anything, to mitigate the impacts of an earthquake. I guess just build really stably and hope things wedge together, and one asteroid has the capacity to end your level. That's very frustrating after the extent of time I spent slowly, methodically, and carefully attempting symmetry. When things are going alright, it's more like a puzzle, and when things go bad, you have to think on your feet and find a way to build on top of the chaos. Not the most enjoyable task, except on the odd occasion it accidentally works. It's a city builder where you are not in control, which is, I suppose, refreshing, but it's definitely gonna turn a lot of people off. It's so aggravating, maybe even unfair, that it feels like a toddler who didn't like me just toppled my blocks. Subsequently, because of the difficulty, the game doesn't really hold your attention for long. As said, it does have different levels to choose from, but pretty much all of them have this issue, except they have different curveballs and a differently shaped piece of Earth or a different balanced Earth plate. All that repetitive energy, and sometimes you have to restart just because you pushed your luck. Sure, you may methodically plan, balance it perfectly, be meticulous, maybe even fancy, but trust me, you will be the Icarus of mayors, and all of your hard work will be in the drink soon enough. But you know, in a fun way. There's no story to distract you, apart from some headlines headlines that get shown to you when your city plummets, presumably by an out-of-town newspaper. By the way, do you want to see someone as happy as a kid on a seesaw? Then please consider liking and subscribing. Maybe even drop a comment of how you'd be a better mayor of Balancity than me. But no pressure though, I'm grateful you've even watched. But maybe the fatigue was partially my fault. Maybe I really should have played around more with the physics, been more willing to just throw things around, see what sticks, be less methodical. I believe a building on its side still works in this game. I probably still would not have succeeded, but I would have been a bit more relaxed. Some of the levels have special conditions that add something interesting. For instance, the one where gravity works upside down. Sure, this probably makes it more frustrating, but at least it's goofy enough to compensate. Sometimes I kinda wish there was another special level where the plate would rotate in a phase-like manner. I'm sure that will give you a fun bit of nausea. And yes, I know up until now I've sounded quite negative, but this game has its place because it's a weird curiosity in the city building genre. It's unique, has a different focus, and you do have fun up until you get mad. It's probably best as an in-between game for drop in and out play. Generally speaking, city builders require you to lay down some roots. Absolute punishment. And care and fiddle for hours. Honestly, some of you will be done with this game within a couple of hours. I didn't even attempt all the scenarios. I was spent after most of the missions and 2 scenarios. But the scenarios are the real levels, really. Half of the missions were tutorials, and the other half had some really hard challenges. It laughs in the face of permanence. That makes it technically a groundbreaking city builder. We're going against one of the ideas at the genre's foundation. Absolute punishment. And it's nowhere near as relaxing. And there's also a free build mode on a single balancing plate, no disasters, only those you trigger yourself. Once again, very SimCity. The visuals match this unserious tone, a very light color palette, it's light-hearted, except for the nightmare level, but in all fairness, they only took the creepiness halfway. I mean, sure, this is a scary clown and all, but these buildings look nice. The game just has such a clean, inviting look, to go with the obviously intriguing, ridiculous premise. If all the power plants smoke, and more pixely stuff can look a bit grungy, those grey, out-of-scale elevators, etc. Plus, the game does have some nice cutesy music depending on the scenario to fit with said city. And once again, sometimes very SimCity. Very pleasant and upbeat, really blends into the background while you're trying to figure out what to put where. After only 4 hours of gameplay, San Francisco made me realize I was done. It probably will take a highly focused and determined mind to take a proper swing at this game. But it is cheap on Steam, 87 Rand full price, 10 Rand 44 cents on sale. Please bear in mind this time around I'm using the price data from SteamDB because I honestly forgot I had a review written for this game and didn't keep track. That's 2 Rand 61 cents per hour of gameplay, which is quite good. Plus, it also has a very small download size, as it only takes up 164.62 megabytes on the hard drive, and it's easy to run on the Warhorse. It's seemingly played without incident, maybe rare occasions of frames slowing down, and one big old jolt, more like a freeze, when a city sank, but otherwise it seemed to play fine. Maybe a touch edgier, but fine. Stereotypically, I would say it's kid-friendly. The most jarring thing about it probably would be the natural disasters. I mean, you don't see people drown in terror, and some people may be a bit offended at the existence of slum mode. This game has a brilliant, unique premise, making you focus on things you normally wouldn't in the city builder genre. If it is so different that some people would say calling this a city builder is a bit of a stretch. It laughs in the face of permanence. The game has focused and involved puzzle-like gameplay, but it's also laborious, difficult, and maybe even tedious when you retry enough times. And visually it's nice enough, clean, crisp, very inviting, light-hearted, and does feel kind of like SimCity if you're into that. And it is lovely, upbeat, pleasant, scenario-specific, aka city-specific music. On the maybe side, it has no story, apart from the headlines when you lose. Nothing to distract you from the laborious gameplay, apart from the different monuments and the levels that differ slightly. Oh, and the weird special stages, but nothing else. Believe me, that's not much. And generally, city builders speak to our most controlling aspects. And the building on a seesaw combined with the extreme disasters means you're not calm or in control for long. Sometimes thinking on your feet and speed are important when you're trying to reverse the damage. As said, that's unique, but definitely not for everyone. And on the con side, I find it very difficult to believe that most people would get the most out of the game's content. It's just so repetitive and deflating. In other words, it's too hard. Come on, play it and see some ridiculous civic planning. This entire thing is a waste of tax dollars. None of them thought about houseboats. They don't even have a coast guard to save them when they inevitably plummet. Don't tell me that's outside the purview of the game dev police.